Good afternoon, Torii 242. This is Chaplain Harris. This is my first devotion or sermon recorded on this media without being in restriction of movement. So it's nice to be around my house and be back to work. So this is Tuesday. And it's not just any Tuesday. It is Tuesday of Holy Week 2020. So, as I set out to plan to start working on my Easter service plans today, I came across an interesting passage. Now, I've come across this before; it's not a first, but this passage began to trouble me. I'm going to read it for you today. It's only a couple verses long. This comes from Matthew chapter 27. Starting in verse 3, and it says this: When Judas, the traitor, learned that Jesus had been condemned, he repented and took back the 30 coins that to the chief priests and elders. I have sinned by betraying an innocent man to death, he said. What do we care about that? They answered. This is your business, not ours. Judas threw the coins back down into the temple and left. He went off and hung himself. So as I got to thinking about this odd passage, these words really jumped out to me. Judas talking to the religious leaders saying, I have sinned by betraying an innocent man. Verse 5, he took those coins and he threw them down and ran away. Now, certainly Judas, he made his own decisions, and Judas did what he did, and we could theorize all day, and in fact, theologians have for years about everything that was going on in Judas's heart. But I'll tell you this: I think this was about expectations on Judas's part. I wonder what personal expectations Judas had that drove him to take the actions that he took. You know, the first action, to betray Jesus, to sell Jesus away for these 30 pieces of silver, and secondly, to return that money. You know, this is Tuesday of Holy Week. It was less than 2 days ago that people were laying down palm branches as Jesus rode into the city and proclaiming the hosannas. And now, because of personal expectations, Judas takes these actions. What does that say about us in 2020? As we enter this Holy Week, I can't help but wonder what personal expectations we are placing on God this Holy Week. Do we think he should act in the way that we want him to act? Or are we engaging this Holy Week narrative with surrender? You know, in the garden, before Jesus was arrested, Jesus was praying to the Father, and he said, God, Father, I don't want to go through this. If there's any way, remove this cup from me. But then he said, but not my will, thine be done. I would like to suggest to all of us that as we engage this Holy Week narrative, if we are able to take a look at our own personal expectations and put them to the side and say, Heavenly Father, what do you want to accomplish in my life this Holy Week? We might be in a better place to hear from God as Sunday approaches.